The question from Kyle Visser in the chat, which is more difficult, the SEC in football or the Big 12 in basketball?
I think the SEC in football, you are, at least until now, and we'll see how it is in a new 16-team format. And I think, look, if you look at some of the schedules, like you do get games where you can have an off day and win. And we've seen that if you're an elite team. The thing is, in the Big 12 in basketball, there is nowhere you can go and have an off night and expect that it's going to come out okay. And there's not one of the 14 teams right now that are in that. And then, we'll see. Look, they're bringing in one next year where you can't go have an off night at all in Arizona for sure. And we'll see how the other three fit into that gauntlet. But I think the Big 12 in basketball is a little bit tougher because you can't. Who's outside of Houston? Who's had a really glorious winning streak? Iowa State, I guess. But like Baylor hasn't had, like, they're 15th in the country.
They've won 5 in a row twice, but they've lost 3 in a row, and then they lost, of course, 2 in a row.
Yeah, so
got that in.
The league is such a hammer that, man, you just can't. You get on the wrong side of a losing streak fast in Big 12 basketball. It makes it kind of murky for what your season's going to be.
I don't want to start to, after years of complaining about the SEC propaganda with football, start to do the same exact thing with the Big 12 in basketball. I just feel like I'd be a little bit of a hypocrite, but I do understand why that reputation is out there, and based on recent national titles, last season notwithstanding, they've got, like the SEC football side, the skins to back it up. Now they need to win a few more. They need to have like 5 or 6 teams win ones to really duplicate that run of dominance, but it definitely see where the seeds were planted of why they're gaining that reputation. And I think I'd go Big 12 basketball because I just think there's more room and error as far as losses that you can compile. Obviously, it's a totally different sport, but I do feel like it's a bit more even of a matchup than the SEC, because I don't think with the SEC necessarily every game's made out like it's Alabama, LSU, and that's just simply not true. Like there is a South Carolina or a Vanderbilt or an Arkansas or somebody that pops in. So I think like top to bottom, I think Big 12 basketball is legit. Again, we're talking 2 different sports, so it's not.
Well, and you also play each other, not everybody, but you're going to play some of these teams home and away.
Yeah, there's that.
Which you might have a rematch in the championship game, and that's about it.
So until this year, you didn't even avoid, like hey, at least we're not going to Austin this year, or we're not going to Lawrence.
Fieldhouse.
You're going everywhere, basically. Yeah. And now it's slightly different again with more teams. But, yeah, I think I'd lean Big 12 just as far as toughness top to bottom and just some of those sort of parameters I laid out there. But you'd love to be competing in either league, that's for sure, in those respective sports.
You play in basketball, and this is in the Big 12 in basketball, you play everybody at least once. You just don't know if it's a home and away,
right.
and some of them could be both. From the chat room, Cornelio, Big 12, JD, Big 12 hoops, Mike, the SEC is very top-heavy. Alain said, I would say the SEC, but I would like to see Vanderbilt beat Georgia. Let's see here. Kyle Visser, UCF beat Kansas. I would never have thought that. They also won in Austin. Now, Oklahoma State's fallen down. West Virginia kind of come in and out. They're actually, a little bit higher than we think. But if Oklahoma State was to beat somebody, in fact, they're not playing tonight. But if they beat somebody, it's not like, oh, my God, where there are some of those when it comes to football. And I know that a lot of us, we cover what we hope is all of college athletics, but a lot of people are also fans of the Big 12.
I think that's fair, though. I mean, if you feel that way, there's not a wrong answer.
No.
And I think that some of the points brought up do give you a great argument for why the top-to-bottom Big 12 basketball side's a shade tougher. I do think a lot of times the SEC does get the benefit of being top-heavy. But at the same time, to really compare, you need to have about – let's see, Baylor's done it, Kansas has done it. You need to see K-State and Texas Tech, and we need Oklahoma State, and you need I mean, Arizona coming up next year, and like have all those
like
schools
win
win
5 of
titles.
8.
Yeah, like win all those schools, because that's the thing about the SEC. If it was just the Bama stuff and just Georgia, if you just left it there, that'd be plenty of dominance. But it's the fact that Auburn and LSU and all these teams have Florida have all won them, if not multiple ones.
Yep.
And so that's what's so impressive about it. And the Big 12's, on its way. You've had Kansas and Baylor here recently. So there's certainly a number of teams this year, Iowa State, Houston now, that you feel like can certainly be the ones raising the trophy there at the end. So they're just kind of scratching the surface of what this can turn into in comparison to somebody who's been doing it for a while longer. But that will always be impressive to me, no matter what you say and what your feelings are. Just the number of teams in that many years to be that successful is just it's hard to fathom.
Yeah.
Also, Auburn, BU, Patrick, Auburn done anything lately? It doesn't matter. They won. They won a national title like in 2010 with Cam.
Had Tech beaten Virginia a couple years ago,
Yes.
that made them
really
put them there. And,
then you have
of course,
3 out
that's
of
what I mean,
4.
yeah.
Yeah,
that Tony
absolutely.
Bennett team that didn't let you pee a drop. I mean, they were
Right.
so unbelievably smothering on defense. But look, if Houston can go and win it this year, which believe me, they very well could. If Houston wins it this year, if you have someone like Arizona pop up and win the next couple years, that's going to give a lot of credence to the fact of it's kind of the same thing. It's not a completely, like you said, Craig, apples to apples comparison, but as far as like your ability to roll in, like Georgia's had in the last couple of years, a game where they've rolled into a place where they should have had no problem. They've played as bad as Georgia can possibly play, and then they wake up just in time to save the day.
Yeah.
That does not happen too much in Big 12 basketball.
All right, here are the games tonight.